Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to explore a very important topic from your civics textbook, gender as a social division. Now, this is something that's not just in your books, is it? It's all around us, in our homes and in our society. So let's try to understand it a little better.
So let's begin with a question. I want you to really think about this. We see so many differences in the roles that men and women play in society. Are these differences, are they just natural? Are they set in stone and can never be changed? Just keep that question in the back of your mind as we go through this chapter.
Okay, so here's our plan for today. First, we'll ask that big question. Is it natural? We'll look at biology versus society. Then, we'll explore the idea of public and private worlds. We'll talk about something very important called unpaid work. After that, we'll see how all of this is actually a political topic. And finally, we'll understand why this division matters so much.
All right, first step. Let's tackle that question head on. Is this gender division we see, is it natural? Let's find out what it's really based on.
Now, this is probably the most important idea in the whole lesson, so listen carefully. Most of the division of roles between men and women is actually not based on biology. It's based on what society expects from us, on the stereotypes that have been created over time. This is a very key idea to remember. So let's break that down to make it super clear. On one side, we have biological sex. This is about the physical differences between male and female bodies. That is natural, of course. But on the other side, we have social gender. This is completely different. This is about the roles and behaviors that society teaches us are for boys or for girls. You know, things like pink is for girls or men don't cry. These are not biological facts. These are ideas we learn from society. Okay, so if society teaches us these roles, how does that affect our daily lives? Well, it creates a kind of division, splitting our world into two separate spaces, what we call the public world and the private world.
And this brings us to a very important term from your textbook, the sexual division of labor. Please make a note of this definition, it's important for your exams. It is a system where the work inside the home is mainly done by women, while men are expected to work outside the home to earn money.
And this is what that system usually looks like. Society expects women to take the main responsibility for housework and taking care of the children, and men are expected to be the breadwinners, to go out and earn money for the family. So you see, this system splits our lives. It creates a private world of the home, which is seen as a woman's space, and a public world of work and politics, which is mostly dominated by men.
Now, this division has a really huge consequence. Think about all the work that's done in that private sphere, all the work done inside our homes. Is it even considered work? Let's try to make this invisible work visible. Just take a look at this image. It tells a story that is so common in so many of our homes. We see a mother who is busy with household work all day long. This work, the cooking, the cleaning, caring for everyone, it's absolutely essential, isn't it? The family cannot function without it. But is it valued?
And this quote just captures the whole problem, doesn't it? The little girl sees her mother working from morning to night without a break. But when asked, her mother says, "I don't work." Why? Because society often doesn't recognize all this household labor as real work, mostly because it doesn't earn a salary.
And here's another very important point. It's not that women only do household work. The reality today is that a majority of women, both in villages and in cities, also do paid work. This creates what we call a double burden. They work outside for a wage, and then they come home and are still expected to do all the housework as well.
These numbers from a government survey really show us the reality. Just look at the data. On an average day, a man in India spends about 6 hours on income-generating work and only 30 minutes on household work. That's a total of 6.5 hours. Now look at the women. They spend almost 3 hours on paid work and 5 hours on household work. If you add that up, that's almost 8 hours. So on average, a woman works longer hours than a man, but a huge portion of her work is unpaid and completely unrecognized.
So we've talked about work and social rules, but you might be thinking, ma'am, what does all this cooking and cleaning have to do with our civics class? Well, this next section connects it all to political science.
And that's a very fair question to ask. It's a question your textbook itself raises. Why are we talking about what happens in the kitchen in a book that's supposed to be about government, elections, and power?
And here is the answer. It's simple, but it's very powerful. Politics, at its heart, is about power. And power relationships don't just exist in the parliament or in government offices. They exist everywhere, even inside our own homes.
When one group has more power, more say in decisions than another, that is a political issue.
This system of male dominance has a name. It's another key term you must know: patriarchy. It refers to a social system that values men more and gives them power over women. And this system is the root cause of the gender division that we have been discussing so far.
So, in our final section, let's look at the results of all this. What is the real-world impact of this gender division? Why does it matter so much for women and for our country as a whole?
Well, the consequences are very serious. Because women were traditionally limited to the private world, their role in public life, especially in politics, has been very, very small. And this inequality shows up in other areas too. The literacy rate for women is still much lower than for men. In many sectors, women are paid less than men for doing the exact same work, and they face so many other forms of discrimination every day.
This chart really helps us see the bigger picture. In some countries, like the Nordic countries, women make up over 42% of the parliament. The average for the entire world is about 24%. And then, look at India, at just 11.8%. It clearly shows how far behind we are when it comes to women's representation in politics.
Now, even after the 2019 elections, which saw the highest number of women ever elected to the Lok Sabha, that number was still only 14.36%. That is a very small number for a country where women make up nearly half of the population.
So what is the solution? Well, for many years, women's groups and activists have argued that unless women are in positions of power, their problems will not be taken seriously. This is why there has been a strong demand to reserve seats for women in the parliament and in state assemblies.
So, to sum up everything we've discussed today, what's the one key takeaway? It's this: gender division is a social issue, not a natural one. It is created by society. And this social division leads to inequality and severely limits women's participation in public life, especially in politics.
And I want to leave you with this final thought. If society is the one that created these unequal roles, then that also means that society has the power to change them. So the question for all of us is, what steps can we take in our own lives, in our families, and in our communities to help create a more equal future for everyone? Think about that. Thank you.